Today we're going to be going over the best motorcycles you guys can use for racing in GTA 5 Online. We have 53 different motorcycles in GTA 5, and they're all pretty decent, except for a few like the Faggio. That's obviously not a bike you want to use, but the ones in this video are amazing, and we're going to be going over some of the pros and cons of those today. Before we get into it, the track that I'm going to be doing this on is this big map I downloaded. Now this map has a ton of really sharp turns and curvy roads. This is where you'll be able to see how well these motorcycles can truly perform. And honestly, every single one in this video does a really great job on this track. So with that said, I hope you enjoy the video, and without further ado, let's get into it. First, let's talk about the Shotaro. It's hands down the best motorcycle to use in GTA 5 for racing, and in my opinion for time trials as well. It is literally a beast. But the issue is the price. It's $2.2 million, and you're not going to want to spend that much on a motorcycle if you're just casually racing and you're looking for a good bike to use whenever a stunt race pops up where you have to use a motorcycle. So obviously some people won't want to spend that much money on bikes, and we're going to go over some cheaper ones in this video that are still really great. But if you are looking for the best of the best, the Shotaro is the bike you want to use. It will slap in every single scenario. The handling is amazing. It goes around corners so well. The acceleration is great. It has a really good top speed. It's an all-around amazing motorcycle, and I would recommend it over any other bike in the entire game. Let's talk about the BF400. One of the best things about it is the fact that it's cheap. It's only $95,000. It has a top speed of 137 miles per hour, and I'm going to tell you guys how to hit that top speed in just a minute. Some of the cons about this bike though: it doesn't have the best handling. That's pretty obvious. It's a dirt bike, it's not a speed bike. You're comparing it to things like the Shotaro, the Hakuchu Drag, the Baddie 801. Obviously those bikes are going to perform better around turns. But with this bike, it doesn't have the best acceleration going around turns. So the speed that you're going to be going at, you might be able to hit like 80 miles per hour. When I was driving, I was going around 80 miles per hour around these turns, which isn't great, but I didn't have to take my finger off the gas at all, which is awesome. But when you're in a stunt race, obviously the track is a lot wider, so you have wiggle room with that. So in all honesty, it's not the best. But the one good thing, like I said, is the top speed. 137 miles per hour is extremely fast. The way you actually hit top speed in this bike is a little bit weird. If you're just driving normally, you won't really get anywhere close to that top speed. What you have to do is pull a wheelie and then drop the bike back down. With this bike, you can do a wheelie practically whenever you want. It doesn't matter what speed you're going, if you're turning or not, you can do a wheelie whenever you feel like it. And then pretty much just let go of the wheelie and then watch the speedometer in the bottom right corner. When I drop it back down, this speed increases a ton, and that'll allow you to get to that top speed really quickly. Overall, its handling isn't great, its acceleration isn't great, but if you're looking for a really fast bike, the BF400 is a great choice. Like I said, it's the third fastest in the game. But now let's go take a look at some motorcycles that are all around great bikes. Next up, we have the Baddie 801. It's probably the best bang for your buck. This bike is awesome. It only costs $15,000, and you could compare it to the Shotaro, but it's just a beginner version of it. Its speed is great, with its top speed being 135 miles per hour, which is crazy. The acceleration is also pretty decent as well, but that's a little bit lower than the Shotaro's. Its handling is just like the Shotaro, but it's a little bit slower around the turns, and that's where the acceleration really plays a part. The Shotaro has a great acceleration. The Baddie 801's acceleration is a little lower, but it still does pretty well. It's also very easy to wheelie. If you guys ever go into free mode, you'll see a lot of people using this bike to do tricks and ramping off curbs, so obviously doing a wheelie helps it a lot because that gives you a little bit of speed boost. But I have to say the best part is the fact that it's only $15,000. You're getting an amazing bike, and it's dirt cheap. Every player in GTA 5 has used this bike before. It's the perfect vehicle to use, especially if you're new to the game and really like bike races. By the way, be sure to check out DigiZani. They'll hook you up with tons of discounted games, gaming accessories, discounted gift cards, and in-game currency for dozens of your favorite games. Don't forget to use code Frolics at checkout for a 10% discount. Next up, we have the Hakkachu. It only costs $82,000. It's another great bike to use for racing. It's very comparable to the Baddie 801, but it's worse in some ways and better in some ways. Its top speed is 1 mile per hour lower, being 134 miles per hour, but it still zooms. It's also great for pulling wheelies, which obviously gives you a little bit of a boost in terms of acceleration. It's another bike you'll probably see people driving around in free mode doing tricks or in compilations on YouTube. Its handling on this track is really good, but it does understeer just a little bit because it's somewhat big of a bike. But since it does understeer a little, it doesn't lose much speed going around corners, and that's why it's a little bit better than the Baddie 801, because when you're doing stunt races, most of the turns are going to be a little bit wider than this road. This is a really tiny road, and it does handle the turns really, really well. It doesn't do bad at all. It still makes it around without crashing no matter what, and you barely have to take your finger off the gas. But since it does understeer just a tiny bit, it doesn't slow down as much compared to the Baddie 801, which I think means it's a better bike in my opinion. The Baddie 801 slows down a lot more, but that's why I like the Hakkachu just a little bit more. It's definitely a great motorcycle to use in races, especially if you don't want to spend that much money, only $82,000. Next up, we have the Hakuchu Drag. It's another amazing motorcycle to use. It's only $900,000. I don't know why I said only $900,000. That's really expensive for a motorcycle, but it's a lot cheaper than the Shotaro. And in some ways, it's practically the exact same bike, but a little bit worse in every single way. Some people think this bike performs a lot better than the Shotaro. In my opinion, I don't think it does. It's very close and it does a really good job, and it's definitely a better thing to purchase over the Shotaro, since you could buy 2 of these bikes for the price of that bike, and this bike will perform just a little bit worse. You're still getting a really amazing bike. It's hands down, in my opinion, the second best bike you can use in GTA 5 for racing. The biggest issue I see with this motorcycle is how long it is. Since it's so long, it is a little bit harder to go around turns. Every time you see fire coming out of my exhaust, that's me taking my finger off the gas, and I do it a lot while driving this bike. When going around turns, like I said, it's not the best. If it's a wide turn, you probably won't have too many issues, but going around sharp turns, you will. You'll have to take your finger off the gas. And you guys can see I was just trying to go around this turn and I fully went off-road, which sucks. But the acceleration is so great, the second you put your finger back on the gas, this thing will take off. So it kind of cancels it out in a way. It's a really amazing bike. It's half the price, actually a little bit less than half the price of the Shotaro, which is awesome. So honestly, if you're looking for a great motorcycle to use in races, this one is awesome. But if you're looking for the best, you'll have to put a lot more money into it and you will get the Shotaro, because that one slaps. But hands down, if you're looking for a bike and you don't want to spend millions, spend just a little bit less than 1 million and grab this thing. If you don't want to spend even that much money, buy the Hakuchu or buy the Baddie 801, and if you want to, buy the BF 400. I wouldn't suggest it. Its top speed is really great, but its handling isn't amazing. But I would say it's still a great bike to use in races. Anyways, that's pretty much going to wrap up this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to be doing another video very soon on the pros and cons of every single motorcycle in GTA 5. If you guys want to see that, drop a like on the video. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.